60% of the way through a stretch of 5 games in 8 days. The results are not favorable. The Pens haven't won any of their first 3 games, and they face a tough task tonight against the big, bad St. Louis Blues. The Blues, one of the bigger, more physical teams in the NHL, also have the second best record in the league. It's the Pens and the Blues, and it begins right now on Root Sports.
Last night, the St. Louis Blues took advantage of a poor performance by a backup goaltender for an easy win over the Boston Bruins. Tonight, the Penguins are counting on their backup goaltender, Thomas Greiss, to do a much better job and make life miserable for the highest scoring team in the Western Conference, the St. Louis Blues. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to St. Louis. Bob Airey is downstairs looking for some leadership tonight from Evgeny Malkin, Bob.
Yeah, how about a goal? Maybe an assist. He hasn't got one in 8 games, believe it or not. Malkin still leads the Penguins with 22 goals on the season, Staggy. They're going to need his offense maybe on the power play tonight.
And Malkin definitely seemed like a leader yesterday, speaking for the organization in the wake of that loss to Columbus.
We know we come back, I believe his team is good guys, good players, and just support each other, relax, and we're back.
Bob, Malkin is not the only excellent Russian hockey player in this game tonight.
Well, there's a human highlight reel on the other side. Vladimir Tarasenko is his name, 3rd in the National Hockey League in goal scoring. Boy, he did some damage this year against the New York Rangers. Just went through all 5 Rangers. And then a couple of nights later against Chicago, 31 goals, as I mentioned. He got a pair last night against the Boston Bruins in a game where the Blues didn't start that well, but they finished with 5.
Sidney Crosby sees checking every single night. Eric Fehr of the Capitals, Brandon Dubinsky of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and tonight, David Backes of the St. Louis Blues.
Yes, and against the Blues, he has not registered a goal. One of 2 teams, the Sharks the other, and he's got to face David Backes, that big Olympian that's always in your face. You talk about interference. This is what Backes does. Just gets in your way. He can be as annoying as Dubinsky was, and he'll have to fight through those checks here in this one.
A couple of excellent right-handed shooting defensemen in this game tonight, too, Bob. A couple of guys who've been mentioned in the same sentence with the Norris Trophy, particularly our guy lately, but also the guy for the Blues who has been mentioned in that breath the last couple of years.
Yeah, you're right, Staggy. Chris Letang, boy, has he been skating well, playing well, 2nd amongst defense in the National Hockey League, 2nd in points amongst all players next to Ovechkin since January 1, and Pietrangelo, Alex, right there, 25-plus minutes a game, 3 more minutes than anybody, and with the injury to Shattenkirk, he's prominent.
Well, he was originally a St. Louis Blue, drafted 26th overall in 07. He played 6 seasons in St. Louis. David Perron returning to play against his old team tonight, and Dan Potash will speak with him in just a moment. Penguins and Blues are coming up on Root Sports.
Penguins Hockey on Root Sports is brought to you by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. You're better with Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield, rated #1 for plan satisfaction. By Western PA Toyota dealers. Now's the time to go places with Toyota. Visit buyatoyota.com for special offers. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Let's take a look at tonight's starting goaltenders. Our key starting goaltender for the Penguins in the first of a back-to-back situation for the Pens is Thomas Greiss, Bob.
Yeah, Thomas Greiss, he's used to seeing the Blues being in the West, and Elliott, 3-0-1 his last 4 against the Pens. The netminders to begin this one, a big game for Pittsburgh.
And Brandon Sutter starts the game with Zach Sill on his left wing and Bo Bennett on the right. Sill is penciled in as a 4th-line left winger tonight, but he starts the game playing left wing on the 3rd line as the Blues, Jaskin shoots the puck off a stick in behind the net. Taken there by Chris Porter in the lineup, who was not in the lineup last night in the 5-1 win over the Boston Bruins for the Blues. Now at the point, it is a shot by Ian Cole that hit Paul Martin. He gets after it to the near side and held in again by Cole to the corner. And the Blues cycling the puck now in the Penguin zone. They got off to a terrible start last night against the Bruins. Didn't register a shot for the first 12 minutes, but Malcolm Subban was in goal for Boston, and he had a tough night in his first game. There's a shot by Bo Bennett, stopped by Brian Elliott, and he holds on in a faceoff coming up in the St. Louis zone.
Boy, that almost squeezed through the pads. Relax, folks, says Malkin. We're going to be fine. And they have to have fun and outwork the penalty killers if they want to get that power play working. I think will be a key, and composure in big moments. Mike Johnson needs it. They've been in these hockey games. Critical moments, maintain your composure.
You notice that Sidney Crosby is playing with Patrick Hornquist again on the right wing, and Perron on the left side. His regular position, even though he's a right shot, he considers himself a left winger. Here's Steen shooting, and that's blocked by Rob Scuderi. Alex Steen looking for the puck. So is TJ Oshie, and his shot was stopped in front. And the Penguins protecting the house there as Oshie was whacking away at the puck. Here's Sidney Crosby for Simon Dupre coming to center ice. Dupre dumps it into the blue zone. Dave Bouwmeester goes back for it, as does Alex Pietrangelo. He's got the puck. Pietrangelo moves it to the right wing where Oshie steers it right to the stick of Simon Dupre. And now to Paul Martin in the middle for Sidney Crosby. Crosby looked to the right wing for Hornquist. He gets in after it. And ahead of him is Yuri Laterra. Penguins maintain possession, though. Behind the goal, it's Crosby. Sidney Crosby, watched by Pietrangelo, moves it to the point area where Kunitz shoots the puck, and that is blocked. And Laterra banks it away now for Jaden Schwartz, who just got a piece of it, I think. Doesn't matter. There's going to be icing either way, and Paul Martin goes back to touch up. Let's take a look at what Mike Johnson has done. Make a switch that I think a lot of people were anticipating might happen.
Yeah, putting Hornquist out there with Sidney Crosby, and Hornquist has really been a thorn in the side of the St. Louis Blues. Talking to people around St. Louis, they have not liked him. He has been a kind of a hated man around that blue paint, Staggy, and that's what he's going to have to try to do in this hockey game. But I like to switch up there. Kunitz moves off that line.
Here's Jaden Schwartz down the left wing, shooting, and he just got it right on the outside post, but there was Thomas Greiss there to make the save. I'll tell you what, he had to reach for that puck. I'm not sure if it was on the net or not, but a good save. Good catch anyway by Thomas Greiss.
I think it was just off the post there, Staggy, as Schwartz moved to the middle of the ice. Nonetheless, a good trapper save for Thomas Greiss. Schwartz with 20 goals on the season. One of 4 Blues that has 19 or more goals. That's tops in the National Hockey League. No other team has 4 19-plus goal scorers.
They're the highest scoring team in the Western Conference. The Islanders have scored more goals than them overall. Now a battle for the puck in the blue zone. Malkin looks for it, but it's going to be cleared up the wall and brought right back to the net by Kunitz, who's playing on the left wing with Malkin. The shot, and that's off a body. Then Malkin in there, jamming away at it. Como reached for it, but the Blues get possession. And back they come. So the Penguins, good pressure there against Brian Elliott around that net. That's where they want to be, right around the paint. And here's Como with it, and he'll dump it up into the blue zone. Marcel Gottsch on the ice, former Penguin, of course, brought over to St. Louis in exchange for Max Lapierre.
Lapierre running around here, the ex-Blue, as you just mentioned, trying to get a bump in his shift.
He has 1 assist in 12 games for the Blues. Now Robert Bortuzzo with it, up the wing now for Craig Adams. He's bumped, but the puck goes past both players to center ice. Puck is dumped into the Penguin zone, and back to get it goes Dupre. Around for Scuderi. And up the wing now for Nick Spaulding. Into the middle for Max Lapierre. Dumps it into the blue zone. Now Spaulding will go back and get it in his own zone. The Penguins, in the first of a back-to-back, they'll play the Florida Panthers tomorrow night. A short turnaround with an 8 o'clock start in Pittsburgh time tonight, and a 6 o'clock start tomorrow night against the Florida Panthers. Here's Crosby to center to the blue zone. Drops it off. Backhand shot by Hornquist, and Elliott juggles the rebound off that stick and holds on.
Great work by Sidney Crosby using his edges, puck protection in the neutral zone. And we'll see if he can find instant chemistry from Hornquist. There's Crosby, skate to stick. Look at the edge work through the Blues and from blue to blue line. And then Hornquist going to that blue paint. A lot of Blues there, and the Penguins looking to get off the schneid against Elliott, who's been really strong. 3-0-1 in his last 4 against the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Stastny able to get the puck to the neutral zone, but it's dumped right back in by Zach Sill. And the Blues quickly move the puck right back to center. Paul Martin will go back to get it. Chris Porter, first man in on the forecheck for the Blues. Martin just keeps his feet moving. It's fed into the middle by Sutter. Sutter, Bennett, and Sill. So Sill is playing left wing on the third line here. Start the hockey game. He did not dress for the last 3. Steve Downey is a scratch tonight. Now it's grabbed by Bo Bennett in the neutral zone with the Blues changing. Bennett the lone man in on the rushes. The Penguins are also changing behind the play, but Bennett hung onto the puck nicely. His pass for Perron is broken up by Paul Stastny. Over to Gunnarsson. He finds a man behind the Penguin defense. Steen shooting, and he missed the goal. Oh, a great chance for Alex Steen. And he missed the net on the stick side of Greiss. Here's Perron into the blue zone. One hand on the stick, he drops it off. Dupre's shot, and that one just went wide of the outstretched skate of Brian Elliott. With his left pad out there, and good shot by Dupre. Now Perron ahead for Hornquist, who dumps into the blue zone. Bouwmeester back to get it. Backhanded it up the near wall to Vladimir Tarasenko. He's bumped by Perron, and Hornquist gets the puck. Sidney Crosby, Patrick Hornquist, and David Perron for the Penguins. Now Hornquist trips and falls down, and the Blues' Jay Bouwmeester moves it ahead to Alex Pietrangelo. Pietrangelo leads the charge. He goes left wing. Quick pass. Tarasenko's shooting, and that hit Paul Martin. He got right in the lane and blocked the shot. Another shot. Pietrangelo stopped by Greiss. And Jaden Schwartz was in there looking for the rebound, but Greiss coming out to make the save and then freezing the puck.
Big saves by Greiss, stopping Steen on a breakaway in this first period of the play. As Gunnarsson got the feed up to Steen behind the Penguins defense, he spins around, and it just went off the stick right below the blocker. Greiss was able to get a piece of that shot that was ticketed. Really good save by Greiss as the Penguins try to get back, and then what a defensive play by Martin, reading the 3-on-2 to get in the lane of Tarasenko.
I thought he missed the net. That was a great save by Greiss. And now the puck is dumped to the right wing corner. Tarasenko goes back to get it and taken there by Gunnarsson. Around now for Petteri Lindholm. Now Pouliot sends it right back towards the blue zone. Lindholm got in a fight last night, coming to the aid of TJ Oshie, who had been hit from behind.
Yeah, Oshie gave him a little tap in the back after that one. You love to see that. He's a guy that, not a fighter, but he was able to stand up for his teammate.
Kunitz dumps the puck into the Blues zone, and Ian Cole back to get it. He's a plus 16 for the Blues.
Celebrating his birthday today, Cole.
Backus trying to get to the puck. Dupre swept it away from him, but now following on is Barrett Jackman. So the Blues defense moving up on the play here. Jackman down in the corner, and now he's trapped a bit. And Oshie's playing like a defenseman right now as the Penguins come into the attacking zone. And after it goes Nick Spaulding. Spaulding playing with LaPierre and Adams, so he's playing on the 4th line tonight. And LaPierre with it. Steps out. Little backhand sneaky shot there on the short side, stopped easily by Elliott. Spaulding tried to move it in front, but Barrett Jackman is there to take it away. Jackman playing in his 782nd game, all with the St. Louis Blues. And Dupre dumps the puck into the St. Louis zone, and Jackman goes back to get it.
Jackman won the Norris Trophy back in 2003. Or sorry, Steggy, the Calder back in 2003 to Jackman, and you mentioned all his games played.
Lead pass, Bo Bennett trying to corral it. He and Sutter. Bennett drops it back now to Letang and over to Paul Martin. Martin moves it to the right wing. Bouwmeester there to tap it right back to center. Blues on the attack again, and then Greiss with an easy stick save again, steering it to the near side where Zach Sill will take it. It's Reeves, Gotch, and Berglund right now for the Blues. Brian Reeves, a big guy, number 75. Berglund down the wing, shoots it. Good save by Greiss. Sill able to get to the rebound. 1-on-2 though. Penguins are changing again behind the play. Crosby also joining the rush.
Quick changes, balance, different looks from all 4 lines for Pittsburgh here, as they certainly are playing a 4-line game. The Blues can do it too. Their 4th line is a good unit that plays about 10 minutes a game, and I think Mike Johnson has balanced his lines to do that.
Yaskin, Steen, and Stastny on the ice right now for St. Louis. The Penguins rob Scuderi at the blue line. Shoots it. Flagged down by Lindholm. He moves it ahead, and now Stastny at center ice. Stastny will dump it past Scuderi into the Penguin zone. Dupre goes back to get it.
Blues played, of course, last night. Pittsburgh in town, watching that game, and we'll see if that has any effect on St. Louis.
Oshie trying to settle the puck down, but it comes to Nick Spaulding. It was a relatively easy game for the Blues for the first of a back-to-back, as they scored 5 goals on 15 shots against the Bruins goaltenders. It was practically a gimme game, really, for St. Louis, and they needed a win. They were going to grouse it a little bit about not playing as well. lately, but they have been phenomenal most of this season. They just recently completed a 12-0-1 stretch.
Look at all the Blues, how they're packed in. 3 below the goal line, 2 in front of the net. They throw a blanket over the 5 of them.
Here's Lapierre working the corner against Backes, trying to move it in front. Backes able to lead the puck up to center ice, down to Steen into the Penguin zone. Looks to the right side to Pietrangelo. He fires it right through the goal mouth. And it comes right to Sidney Crosby, and he'll take off down to center ice. Skating with him is Robert Bortuzzo. Crosby looks back, finds Como, the drive, and save made, and the rebound gathered in now by Pietrangelo, who lifted it to the blue line. Kunitz couldn't hang on to it. Oshie dumps it inside the Penguin zone and turns and goes to the bench.
I love that Sid play, Stagg. He didn't try to run the gauntlet. He waited for Bortuzzo to drive the net, and then he found a man in the high slot in Como. So Sidney Crosby using the teammates around him. Good look.
Here's Letang with it. And he gave it away to Tarasenko as he comes back against Martin. Tarasenko shot off the stick of Paul Martin. Letang back to the corner, lifts it up the wall and back to center where Ian Cole will take it for St. Louis. 6 shots for the Penguins, 5 for the Blues. No score in the game. And Brandon Sutter trying to step around Jackman, shoots it, and a save made by Elliott. And he's able to keep the puck from getting away from him, control the rebound, and a face-off coming up.
No, good speed to the outside. The shift before it was Crosby using a late man. This time, put the puck into an area, go after it. Just get pucks to the net.
We are scoreless here in St. Louis, and there's head coach Ken Hitchcock, who recently moved into 4th place on the NHL's all-time win list. But you know what? He's always looking for ways to get better. He studies successful programs in other sports to gain an edge. For example, he read a couple of books on Alex Ferguson, the former coach of Manchester United, and did something similar with Anson Dorrance, the head coach of the University of North Carolina women's soccer program, also successful, and then talks to other people in the program looking for ways to make, well, I guess his team better on the ice. Interesting.
Coach of the Year in 2012. He coached me in Dallas. Did Ken Hitchcock.
Como swinging around the cage, trying to move it in front. Now Malkin working behind the goal. Jaden Schwartz leaning on Evgeny Malkin, who centered it. And Kunis tried to jam one in on the short side. Malkin tried to center again. Instead goes to the point. Letang with a shot, and that one's up high. And Elliott scrambling around on the goals. The puck came to the near side.
Yeah, that shot by Letang was deflected by Malkin. It was just off to Elliott's left. Not a high stick. It would have counted. A nice deflection across the body for Malkin.
Schwartz dumps the puck to the Penguin zone and goes to the bench. The Blues have the best interconference record in the league, 18-4-2 against the East. The Penguins have a very good record against the West, 11-4-2. And they'll get a chance to add to that record with a couple of more trips to the Wild West before the season's over. Let's take a look at our barrel leaders. And some good things to talk about for the Penguins with that record we talked about against the West. Good record on the road. The penalty killing's been good all year.
Look at the goals against.
Well, the Penguins are 4-1 in their last 6 on the road. There's another guy who was here in St. Louis. Gary Agnew, Penguins assistant coach, was the assistant with Ken Hitchcock the last couple of years here in St. Louis. Here's Alex Pietrangelo moving it out to center.
Look at the Penguins getting away from that matchup, Staggy, and unfortunately they got trouble right now. You saw Sutter come off the ice. Crosby jumped onto the ice because Backes had switched, and now Backes can't come on the ice after the icing, so Pittsburgh's got an advantage here right now. Ken Hitchcock wants to get David Backes out against Crosby as much as he can, so it's a cat and mouse game here.
Right now it's Stastny against Crosby, and Sid won the draw cleanly. Back to Bortuzzo. Bortuzzo is bumped by Jaskin, keeps on coming, shoots the puck, and it's blocked away. Chris Porter hustles over to get it. Drops it back to Jay Bouwmeester, and around now for Pietrangelo. Up the wing now for Stastny. Into the middle. Porter left it for Jaskin. Now Porter is hit hard by Derek Pouliot. And the Blues continue to control the puck in the Penguin zone. Turning with it is Jaskin. Dmitry Jaskin lost it to Bortuzzo. Quick passing with the Penguins as Hornquist comes over the line. He tried to get it to Pouliot. It went off his stick and then wide. Pouliot joining the rush there. And now he's got to get back defensively. Hornquist backing up at the moment. Now Pouliot gets into position as Pietrangelo dumps the puck into the corner, and Pouliot back to play it. Look out. He tried to backhand it out. Gave it away. Oshie centered. Good read by Como, though, as he got in front of Backes to break up that centering pass. Now it's Steen with it. Back behind now for Oshie. Oshie back towards the point. Jackman with a drive, and that one missed the target. Held in. Weird bounce, comes right to the Penguins. Malkin's going to drag it ahead with Como trailing. Malkin busting into Como, and his shot is blocked. Oshie got back to break up the play. And now Jackman springs Steen at center ice. Steen is run over by Malkin. Dupre goes back for it. Backman tried to hit him, but Dupre dodged that check as he moved the puck to Scuderi. Scuderi looks to the right wing. Pass into the middle. Berglund had it picked off for a moment, but now Dupre backhands it into the blue zone. This is Ryan Reeves. Barreling down that right wing. Reeves, big heavy right winger. Dupre leaning on him. Adams in there battling as well. And this is where the Blues will win a lot of battles because of their size. Reeves behind the net. Works it up top. Gunnarsson, the former Maple Leaf, shot the puck and it was blocked. He has to go back and get it. He finds Lindblom, who drives it in, and Dupre right there to get it. Dupre's been out here a while, needs to get off. Dupre holding that puck, moves it along to Paul Martin. Out in center now for Adams, who steers it into the Blues zone, and Gunnarsson goes back to get it. Penguins make a change here as the Blues will start from their own end.
Try to get that Sutter out against Tarasenko if they can. Tarasenko and Schwartz, you talk about shifty and nifty. Look out.
Here's Jaden Schwartz with it now down the wing. He centers off of Greiss. Letang right there to pick up the rebound and move it up off the boards to center, where Bo Bennett will take it for Pittsburgh. Ahead to Spalling. Sutter's driving to the net. They can't get it to him, and the Blues quickly counter. 3-on-3 situation here. Sutter's back. Drop pass. Berglund threw it right to the net. Steered away nicely to the corner. And right there to get it is Laterra for St. Louis. But Spalling stripped him of the puck. Sutter just backhands it back towards the net. Greiss to Bennett. Bennett lifts it out to center for Sutter. Can't find the puck. And now it's Tarasenko with it. He was bumped by Bo Bennett. Keeps on coming though. And the puck in behind the goal will be handled there by Chris Letang as he moves it out on right wing. Sutter found Perron. Perron slithers his way in. Bouwmeester stays right with him. Takes the puck out of his feet. Bouncing puck. Both teams close checking here, playing well. Penguins have seen a couple of pretty good scoring chances for the Blues. Not had really any glorious chances themselves. Probably Como's chance was the best one so far here in the first period. But the Penguins have outshot the Blues 8-6. Another low-scoring, tight game, it looks like, for these two clubs.
Yeah, you know, the Penguins have activated their defense a couple of times in the game. You saw Pouliot.
Here's Crosby. Kunitz shooting. Oh, he just missed. As Crosby was going to the net.
I like the way Crosby is dishing off pucks here, Staggy. He is not trying to run the gauntlet. He's moving the puck and then moving his legs, trying to get open for either a give and go. Create something that way. Use the players around you. Without an assist in the last 6 games, Crosby really dishing the puck here in the first period of play.
And an icing call. And we invite you to tweet us at Root Sports Pit using the hashtag Pens Booth. Send your comments, questions, and pictures of your favorite hockey jersey on this hockey weekend in America. Use the hashtag Pens Booth, brought to you by Point Park University. From the faceoff, Malkin. Dupre in behind now for Scuderi. Up the wing now for Kunitz. Off his stick. Lindblom dumps it right back into the Penguin zone. Now it's Malkin. Evgeny Malkin to Rob Scuderi. Scuderi into the middle now. Como shoots it, and it's off a stick and up into the netting.
Well, even Rob Scuderi carrying the mail as the Blues are trying to clog up that neutral zone.
Martin from Minnesota talks about memories growing up on Hockey Weekend in America.
Man, I had a lot. I mean, I was a big North Star fan, you know, Mike Modano, being American. And then Joel Otto actually is from my hometown, so I was had a lot of his stuff hanging on my wall.
Paul Martin, great American right there. Olympian, one heck of a defenseman. By the way, the 1980 Olympic team is in Lake Placid this weekend celebrating the anniversary of that great gold medal win, and all the living members of that team are on hand for that reunion. It'll be a very emotional and special time for those guys. Now there's Paul Martin in his own zone. Of course, guys like Paul Martin owe a little debt of gratitude to all those guys who won that gold medal in 1980. The growth of hockey in the U.S. has been tremendous. 13,000 USA Hockey registered participants. There's a shot off the wing, stopped by Greiss. And the rebound bounced away to the corner. Taking it now is Jaskin. Moves it in front, just dishing it into the paint. And the Penguins able to get it out of there.
Penguins got caught in a change. Martin went off the ice. Bortuzzo came on. Almost led to a Blues opportunity. Almost the first goal of the game as Thomas Greiss had lost his stick in the process off that backhand opportunity. Good foot speed. There you see Bortuzzo getting into the picture just a little bit late, and Greiss a little bit off his post there, Steggy. You know, his comfortability, his level there, I think is wavered as the season has gone on here. He's got in less games, and I like the fact that they put him in the first of this back-to-back here. They want to make sure to keep him confident and keep him playing. Mike Johnson has said, hey, attack practice like it's a game.
We'd like to welcome Fairpoint Communication viewers in Bentleyville. Thanks for watching and rooting on the Pens. All of us at Root Sports and the Penguins appreciate your support. Bentleyville, PA, as we fly into that area.
Stay patient here. This is Penguins solid defensively in this game, as they have been really throughout the month.
Here's Tarasenko. Malkin now skates to the center ice area. Has Como with him. Curls, finds Dupre. Back to Malkin, just whacks it off a stick up into the netting.
Once again, the Penguins center stopping up, finding somebody late. They're looking for other players to get involved in this attack.
Mike Johnston called it one of those emotional fights the other night when Sidney Crosby fought Brandon Dubinsky. Bob.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a problem with it. He wanted a little bit better response from his team, but Crosby getting in his 6th regular season scrap. And the right hand in on Dubinsky there, and those two, of course, that long playoff last year, and Sidney Crosby had enough. Look out here.
Backhand shot, score! Blake Como buries it right in the paint, and the Penguins get the first goal in St. Louis.
And a face-off goal at that. A lot of conversation before that face-off. And Hitchcock not liking it. The Penguins get the puck to the wall, win the battle. There's the turnover, and Como on the backhand goes 5-hole on Elliott. That puck tried to go up the wall and hit Como. He stuck with it and shuffled it in on the backhand, 5-hole. Off the offensive zone face-off, and the new combination of Kunitz, Como, and Malkin are on the board. The Penguins get that all-important first goal.
Como gets his 13th. That's only his 2nd road goal of the year. And a very, very big one, because the Blues are 24-1-2 when they score first.
Yeah, and the other road goal was in Columbus, his old home.
Now it's Oshie sliding it down the wall. The return pass from Steen to Oshie was broken up by the Penguins in good defensive position. Here's Pietrangelo, slap shot, that's blocked. And the Penguins go the other way. It's Hornquist skating, looking for Crosby, swinging wide. He fires, and Elliott scoops it up with a glove. Blake Como scoreless in his last 3.
Well, those first goals are so important. They've allowed the first goal 10 of the last 15. But there they get on the forecheck, and when you force a defenseman to make a play quicker than he would otherwise want to, he doesn't make that perfect play. So instead of going around the glass, he tries to go a little bit up the side, hits Como, the second line of defense after the Malkin forecheck. Great job by the Penguins, and those backhands are tough to track off a player's stick. Nice start for Pittsburgh.
Unassisted goal for Como, and the first goal he's ever scored against the Blues in his career. This is his 10th game against St. Louis. He had 3 assists previously. Reeves dumps it in, but they'll have to tag up here, and Rice sets it up for Derek Pouliot.
That erases the bad taste in Como's mouth from really the last hockey game, Staggy, when the puck was turned over in the neutral zone. He banged into Fleury, led to the game-winning shorthanded goal in the last hockey game. So for Como, great start here on the Malkin line. Somebody's hurt here. There was a collision to the left of Elliott in the Blues zone.
And it's Marcel Gottsch.
Gottsch is down, and looked like maybe Jackman's stick got him right above the lip and under the nose. And I think it may have been his own defenseman, Barrett Jackman's stick. Let's take a look. Penguins, Adams on the forecheck. And when Jackman went down, it looked like Jackman's stick had spun around and hit Gottsch. Yep, right there in the face. So it was Barrett Jackman's stick that hit Gottsch. and no penalty on the call. Referees get it right.
And a face-off to the left of Elliott. 2:20 to go in the first period. 10 shots for Pittsburgh, 9 for the Blues. And the Penguins leading 1-0 on Blake Comeau's goal. Unassisted goal for Comeau. And Comeau skating back into his own zone now. Now it's Jaskin trying to come to the net. He was stripped of the puck at the last second by Martin. Out to the point, Bouwmeester goes to the left side. Stastny for Jaskin. Jaskin checked by Malkin. And carrying it to center was Letang. Good poke check by Bouwmeester on him. And then Malkin drops it back to Paul Martin. Out on left wing to Kunitz. To Malkin. Back for Kunitz. Chris Kunitz turning. Looking back. Scuderi wanted the puck, but Kunitz dumps it back in behind the goal looking for Comeau. And it's going to be taken by Pietrangelo, and he makes a smart pass to move it to Bouwmeester, who finds his man on the right wing, Stastny. He'll dump the puck in and peel away and go to the bench for a change as Dupre takes it for Scuderi. Just no margin for error in these low-scoring, tight games that the Penguins have found themselves in lately. And it's going to be like this right into the playoffs. Something they're going to have to get used to. It's good conditioning for them right now. Here's Bennett. Now Scuderi moves it along for Dupre.
1 minute to play in the first period.
Less than a minute remaining. Dupre, Scuderi. Blues in the neutral zone. Lead pass. Bennett. Let it go off his stick into the attacking zone. And the Blues come right back out as the Penguins are changing. Onto the ice is Sidney Crosby, Hornquist, and David Perron as Letang goes back for the puck. Steen on him. Letang with an errant right wing pass, and the puck is slapped wide by Bouwmeester off the glass, but the Penguins quickly bring it the other way. Hornquist drops it for Letang. Left wing now for Perron. He's going to have to hunt the puck to the corner against Pietrangelo. A reverse hit on him to get the puck. Now Hornquist turns. He moves it out to Paul Martin. His wrister sails just wide again. And then Steen over to the puck. Letang tried to step up on Steen. Now he and Crosby get back. Penguins did a good job there to get on the right side of the puck. And with 7 seconds to go in the period, maybe one more chance here for Pittsburgh. Crosby trying to come to the net. The shot! I think he put it off the goalpost or maybe in. I'm not sure. I think it's off the post. But boy, that was close to going in behind Brian Elliott.
We talk about paying a price knowing that you're going to get absolutely hammered when you go to the net. He taps Elliott, does Crosby as he gets up. There was a little seam. Crosby had the speed and the body protection, protecting with the left leg and the left arm. And he flicked that puck up off the goalpost as he came sprawling across, looking like Bobby Orr against the Blues, Staggy, in midair. And then there was a rebound opportunity. Elliott, right before the clock got to .1 here, a second opportunity with Elliott sitting on his wallet, kept the puck out of the net, right on the goal line with a second opportunity. Great job at Crosby going to that cage, flying through midair.
And there's the horn ending the first period of play. The Penguins come out on top, leading 1-0 on the goal by Blake Comeau. And the shots, 10 for Pittsburgh, 9 for St. Louis. Coming up on the first intermission, presented by your neighborhood Ford store with Rob King and Jay Caulfield. Dan Potash talks with Blake Comeau. Jay will telestrate, highlights and analysis all coming your way. Let's go to Rob and Jay now.
Saggy Bob, thanks very much. So the Penguins get that turnover goal. Blake Comeau scores. And important, it seems, Jay, to get this early lead.
Yeah, I think especially this is against the St. Louis team. They beat Boston, handily last night. You knew this was going to be the type of game that Pittsburgh needs to show up, play big. They've been strong defensively. Greiss is good. And then they just outworked. Again, they lose the draw. They gain possession. Comeau buries that. But the play of Crosby at the end, that's the kind of things. They're kind of starting to take it to St. Louis, is how St. Louis plays the game. It's a great job by Pittsburgh and a great effort at the end by Crosby as well.
Excellent start for the Penguins on the road against one of the best home teams in the NHL. The St. Louis Blues are up 1-0 on the Blake Comeau goal. Dan Potash will catch up with Blake Comeau. We'll have highlights from around the NHL. Jay's going to telestrate for you. All that and more coming up next in the First Intermission Report, brought to you by your neighborhood Ford store. Things have been juggled by the Penguins as they take on the St. Louis Blues tonight. They found a little spark, including with their captain, Sidney Crosby. Let's head back to the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis. Staggy and Bob have the call of the second period, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Rob. Bob, you can't get points as a center iceman unless your wingers are putting the puck in the net, and they can't do that unless you get them the puck.
You're exactly right. And I think the Penguins did a good job of that exactly in the first period. The centermen were using their wingers. They were waiting, they were looking, they were being patient. There's Crosby to Hornquist. That was early in the period. Late they almost scored. There's Crosby again. They're finding Kunitz. Sidney Crosby, he attracts a lot of attention. You better use the players around you. And there with that move at the end of that period. And look at the second opportunity by Hornquist to come flying over Crosby, knocking one out of the air.
Tonight's face-offs are brought to you by the new face of Northwood Realty Services. Penguins just slightly losing that face-off battle, 56% to 44%. Blues had the edge.
The Penguins were able to score off a blue face-off win when they got pressure. So you got to know what you're doing. If you lose the face-off, they turn the puck over. Watch out for the Blues in the second. A plus 18. That's the second best margin in the second period.
Shot from the point goes whistling high off the glass. And over to the near side, Porter bumping his man, Bo Bennett. Up the wall it comes. Jackman's shot hit Brandon Sutter. Zach Sill settles the puck down. And Sill left it there for Bortuzzo, who fed it up the wall where Ian Cole takes it for St. Louis. Wheels the puck down into the corner for Stastny, and his attempt to go back to the point picked off by Sutter. Now to Bennett. Bennett has a step on Cole here. Swinging wide, now cutting in. Bennett shoots. He just missed. A sneaky shot there by Bennett, shooting back against the grain.
Yeah, coming off his off wing. Look out.
Sutter with a shot. That's blocked by Jackman. Sutter got it back, tried to center to Bennett, and I think it hit Jackman, who's down on the ice and still laboring a bit after blocking that shot. He's going back to the bench. Going to take him a while to get there. Here's Dupre to the right wing, and Hornquist. Patrick Hornquist in front now. Shot by Perron. He hit the goalpost, I think. Elliott sprawled, and it looked like Perron dragged the puck around him. He may have just gotten a skate on it. Now behind the net, Sidney Crosby trying to work it in front for Hornquist. Crosby gets it back. Crosby up top now to Dupre, skating well. Dupre wheels it to the net. Turning shot again by Perron. That is blocked in front. I think it hit Pietrangelo, and now Backus over to Steen, and sent back around to the near corner. Back to get it goes Pietrangelo. Crosby trying to take it away from him. Crosby diving for the puck ahead of Bouwmeester, and Bouwmeester was slow to the puck there, and now he's got it behind the net. He takes a hit from Hornquist after wheeling the puck all the way down the ice. It will not be icing. Letang goes back for it. The Blues are able to make a complete change.
Well, that last change was terrible. You mentioned Jackman getting hit with the puck. He labored back to the bench. Pietrangelo got on there late. Perron almost put the Penguins up 2-0 because of that change.
Jaden Schwartz shoots it wide. He used to wear 9. Now he wears 17. Steve Ott wears number 9, a number he's worn for years. Out to the point. The shot taken by Lindholm is wide of the goal. Blocked. Here's a shot by Tarasenko. He gunned that one wide off the corner boards. Lindholm intentionally wide for Laterra. And good checking there by Letang to force Laterra back into the corner. Yori Laterra works the corner. Letang and Martin working on him. Now it's Jaden Schwartz wheeling it around to the right side. Taken there by Lindholm. He dumps it in deep. Laterra stripped to the puck momentarily by Martin, but Jaden Schwartz follows on. Blues have brought their work rate up here in the second period. The Penguins have to match it and have done a pretty good job so far. Good defensive play there by Malkin. Now it's Gunnarsson in his own zone. Lifted it off the glass around Letang. Down the wing comes Gotch. Center shot. Great save by Grice on Tarasenko. Grice sprawling with his left pad to stop the sharpshooter of the St. Louis Blues, who has 31 goals, not 32.
What a play by Gotch. A wide pass east to west. Thomas Greiss read it to perfection. Was able to push from right to left. Made that big pad save with the left pad. And prior to that, the Penguins took advantage of that pour. Look at the left side of the screen. Here comes Pietrangelo late for Jackman. And Perron unable to capitalize at the other end. Wow, a couple of great goal scorers there. Big save by Thomas Greiss.
Penalty coming up here, though. It'll be against the Penguins. Blues are going to get a power play. Elliott goes all the way across the red line, gets to the net, and the Penguins get possession here, one way or the other. Offside on the Blues. Either way, the whistle blows, and the Penguins are going to be shorthanded.
Let's take a look at the penalty with Pouliot going to the penalty box for the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have been trapped in their end their last 2 shifts. There's the trip. Pouliot as he came down on the skates of Berglund. So the Blues go to the power play after the big save by Thomas Greiss.
And you saw Tarasenko can rifle that puck as good as anybody in hockey. And that was a great save by Greiss. You see the Blues power play feeling blue lately without Kevin Shattenkirk, who is also being mentioned in terms of a Norris Trophy prior to his injury. Ken Hitchcock's been kind of sour lately, Bob, on the bench.
5 forward, Staggy. And Steen on the blue line here with Oshie, who's moved up. Backus, Tarasenko on the wall. This is a big face-off.
Sutter leans in to take it against Backus. Spalling helped out. There's a good example of what Mike Johnston was talking about with Dan Potash in the pregame show. And Spalling jumped in there to get to that loose puck, so that was a team face-off win there. There's Letang stepping up on Backus.
Try the forward,
Spalling to Sutter. Sutter shorthanded, cutting in. Sutter in front for Spalling, and he couldn't get it over to him because Steen broke it up.
Well, you got to be licking your chops when you're looking at 5 forwards on the ice. Penguins had a chance for a 2-on-1 shorthanded there. It just didn't quite materialize quickly enough.
Haven't seen this in a while. Peter Laviolette used to do it a lot in Carolina. It was shot by Steen off a stick and wide to the corner. Stastny up the wall for Tarasenko. Oshie gets over to keep it alive, but it comes right to Letang. And look at the Penguins just jumping up ice as soon as that puck turns over because they know that that opportunity does exist.
Boy, I might throw Sidney Crosby on the ice right now. I got to tell you, Mario would be licking his chops right now.
Well, Jaskin was offside on himself as he tried to drag that puck into the attacking zone. 1:03 to go on the penalty to Pouliot.
And that'll be the end of that experience right now. Let's take a look at David Perron, who came over, 9 goals in 20 games for the Penguins. And there's the one he turned, and there's the toe save by the netminder Elliott. He made a really big save on that bad change that we showed you earlier with Jackman going off late. That second period change with a bench on the other side of the red line.
Oh, good save by Elliott. So both goaltenders, Greiss and Elliott, have come up with large saves here in this game. A 1-0 lead for the Penguins. Shorthanded for another 53 seconds. The Blues with the power play. It's ranked 3rd in the NHL. Here's Bouwmeester shooting it wide to the corner. Jaden Schwartz let it go for Laterra, or Jaskin rather, behind the net for Schwartz. Now to the point. Bouwmeester for Schwartz. Then we got 2 defensemen on the ice for the power play for the Blues. Pietrangelo and Bouwmeester at the points. Here's Pietrangelo, plenty of room, shoots it wide of the goal. Heavy wrist shot. And then Pietrangelo went down on the corner. He gets himself up as the puck is handled by Laterra. Laterra tried to go to Pietrangelo. The Penguins break it up. Zach Sill getting a chance to kill with Spalling, and he's shot the puck all the way down the ice. 13 seconds left on the Pouliot penalty. LaPierre and Adams up front now on the penalty kill. Scuderi and Letang are back. Penguins with the 4th-ranked penalty killing unit in the NHL. And Backus over to the puck as the penalty expires. Pouliot's on the ice. Here goes a chance now for LaPierre against his old team. LaPierre to the goal, and it's poke check by Elliott. Adams follows on and shot it, and a stick save made by Elliott. There's going to be a penalty as LaPierre was held going to the goal. That's why he really couldn't get a good clean shot away.
Well, it could have been a penalty shot. Tarasenko's arguing, but it could have been a penalty shot. He was almost in the clear there as the penalty just expired. Look at the speed of LaPierre, who's disturbed on his way in there by the free hand and stick of Tarasenko. Easily could have been a penalty shot. It's going to be a Penguin power play, looking to get off the snide. And the ex-Blue LaPierre with a burst of speed.
One of your tips to win tonight before the game, Bob, was outwork the penalty killers of the opposition.
Well,
Here's Hornquist. Let's see if they do it now on this power play. The Penguins, that was their trademark last year on their power play, was the hard work. Crosby, Hornquist, and Kunitz work the corner here. Out to the point. Nice play by Malkin. Over to Letang. Letang drifting. Tried to get it back to Gino. Picked off Berglund. Down here was Stastny, and he dumps the puck to the Penguin zone, and Malkin goes back to get it. Penguins looking to add to their lead here. Hornquist taps it for Crosby over the line. Back to Hornquist. Hornquist holding it. Now throws it to the net off the side of the cage. Kunitz taps it to Crosby. Out to Malkin. Gino with a wrist shot. That's blocked. Hornquist with a shot. Also blocked in front. Crosby gets the rebound near side. Out for Hornquist. And it comes to Malkin to Crosby. Sidney Crosby. Back to Gino. Straight away. The slap shot. Sticked away and up into the netting.
I like the shots, though. Shoot from the middle. Doesn't matter if it's block. You play off the block. You get to the loose pucks. You battle for those. Malkin breaking a stick on this power play. We still got a minute 10. The Penguins do left. Up by 1. But you make the defense react off the shot. That's why you shoot the puck. Even if it hits a leg, they have to react. You get them out of their formation, and then you work from there. So the Penguins can actually get a break here. They get a rest with that broken stick of Malkin's.
From the draw, Gunnarsson cleared it. It took a crazy bounce right to Letang and now to Malkin. Malkin with a minute to go in the penalty sends it to the left side to Letang. Protects the puck against Backes. There's Letang moving up deep. Now for Crosby in front. Hornquist, he scores! Patrick Hornquist buries it on the power play, and the Penguins lead it 2-0.
That's great work there for Pittsburgh. Quick passing and a shot. Hornquist absorbing that Crosby pass and then wristing it. Not a complete one-timer. Hard work getting to the puck. Down from Letang, around behind the net. Crosby working behind the net. And there's the absorption and then the quick snap. As the Penguins work behind Elliott, who's trapped deep in that blue paint. Absorb the puck, snap it with traffic in front. Provided by Chris Kunitz. And the power play has put the Penguins up 2-0.
That looked like a pretty good power play to me, and the Penguins did work extremely hard. They had a certain level of intensity on that power play that results in a goal, and Hornquist delivering it from the slot. That was a huge goal for the Penguins on the road. And the Penguins' special teams have come to play here tonight. A big penalty kill followed by a power play goal. And now it's Derek Pouliot.
Oh no, just hit Sutter right up in the chin. Sutter in that clear by Pouliot.
Crosby gets the assist, so does Chris Letang, another point for him. Letang moves to within 1 of Mark Giordano for the lead among defensemen in scoring in the NHL, still averaging more points per game than any defenseman in the league, Letang. Now the battle on the near wall, and Bennett goes back for the puck in the corner. Around for Pouliot. He had to reach back for it, couldn't get it. And it's held in by Jaskin behind the net now. It is Porter. He's taken hard by Pouliot. Stastny trying to go to the point. Penguins are reading that play tonight. They picked off quite a few passes intended for the defenseman at the blue line by the Blues as they try to go low to high. Spaulding was the one who picked that one off.
Now Hornquist on the board, always a thorn in the side of the Blues. Don't forget the save by Greiss on Tarasenko. Would have made the game 1-1, now 2-0.
Day Automotive brings you what was absolutely a great day for hockey for everybody in the Airy family. Bob Airy's first career NHL goal on October 4th of '83 came against the St. Louis Blues. Who was the goalie, Bob?
Rick Hines, and as I look down there, Staggy, and I appreciate you guys for getting that for me last year and seeing it again. It's probably about the third time I've seen it. I saw that, whoa. Kunitz not liking that call. But I remember looking up and seeing Brian Sutter up there, Staggy. So the uncle of Brandon Sutter. Boy, was he a tough St. Louis Blue to play against, and he was just ready to give me a big elbow.
There he was right there. He was the prototypical Sutter. He was something else. He was kind of like a Rick Tocchet, but not nearly as big. But he was so nasty. He would fight. He'd get 230 penalty minutes and score 40 goals.
Yeah, he was
the
oldest of all the brothers. But yeah, what a tremendous hockey player he was. Tremendous Blue.
Pretty good coach too. And now here's Kunitz with it. And I imagine he's a pretty good farmer too up there in Viking, Alberta. Now here's Evgeny Malkin after the puck, poked away, and picked up now by Tarasenko. Oh boy, he almost had Schwartz off to the races there, but the Penguins prevented that. Here comes Kunitz shooting wide. And over to get it now is Lindbaum. He works it out to center ice. And Tarasenko to the right wing. Schwartz back in front now, and Laterra could not take the pass because it was broken up, I think, on the way through by Kunitz, who got a stick on it. And now back to the right point. It's Pietrangelo shooting, and Greiss on his angle makes the save on Alex Pietrangelo. Take a look at our UPMC Sports Medicine injury update while we have a chance. Christian Ehrhoff not far from returning. the ice this morning here in St. Louis. Blues had a very limited number of players skating this morning because they played last night against the Boston Bruins, who feel the Florida Panthers breathing down their necks. And the Panthers will be playing the Senators tonight. Don't have a score handy for you for that. I'll get one, and they'll be in Pittsburgh tomorrow night looking to try to catch the Bruins and put more pressure on the Penguins, too. They have a 2-0 lead in this one. Blues looking to get one back here. Pietrangelo to Oshie, a slap shot. Hit Perron, and it skips up over the glass and into the seats.
Pietrangelo has been really active in this period. He's been really good, lugging the mail. He was good on the power play. Shot one wide there with a great opportunity, and he led the rush here. So, you know, you mentioned earlier that injury to Shattenkirk. They were talking about him for a Norris Trophy. Pietrangelo picking up the slack here, and they're going to need him to provide some offense if they're going to get back into this hockey game.
The Ottawa Senators have a 3-1 lead on the Florida Panthers, who have to make a long bus ride to the airport and then go through customs when they get to Pittsburgh. So even though the Penguins are playing an early game tomorrow compared to the later game here tonight, it's not going to be an easy trip for the Panthers either, coming from Ottawa, especially if they lose. Here's Adams up the right wing to center. He'll dump it into the St. Louis zone. In after it goes Zach Sill against Pietrangelo. Sill working the corner. Sill, Adams, and Lapierre, the fourth line for the Penguins.
And remember, it was Lapierre's hard work that led to the power play, the 2-0 goal.
Lapierre with a little extra motivation here tonight against his old team. He drew the penalty, and the Penguins scored on the power play. And now Oshie moves it back to the corner for Bouwmeester. Up the right wing, Backus ahead for Pietrangelo. It's amazing how those defense on the weak side jump up and lead the charge sometimes. Pietrangelo went all the way out to center ice there when Bouwmeester got the puck on the far wall.
I don't believe we've seen Marcel Gotch, who was hit by his own man, Jackman's stick. He had looked like he had to go for some stitch work. I haven't seen him back on the ice since.
Here's Bortuzzo taking the puck in front after it was centered by Jaskin. And out in center now, Jackman ahead for Jaskin. Dmitry Jaskin lost an edge as he was bumped by Pouliot. Now a little stick work there by Hornquist. No penalty on the play. It was close. Bortuzzo sends it up the near wall. Jackman pinches down. Filling in behind him is Stastny behind the net for Jaskin. Pushed to the ice nicely by Pouliot. He's trying to be physical and win those physical battles.
Yeah, that's what he wants. Gary Agnew said, I like that Crystal Tank type cross check. That was it right there by Pouliot. Learning.
Here's Lapierre with some room down the wing. Lapierre, toe drag. Oh, he just couldn't pull the trigger. Almost hung onto it an extra second. And it was taken away by Ian Cole. Another chance here for Crosby, faking the shot on Jackman. Dropping it out to Paul Martin. Martin looks for a lane, shoots it, and it's blocked. Stastny fed it along now for Jaskin, who's at the end of his shift, and he shot it accidentally up into the Penguins bench. That'll bring the faceoff back into the St. Louis zone.
But he'll get to make that change. Will Jaskin. Lapierre trying the curl and drag. And he almost made it.
Well, Gary Agnew kind enough to join me for a couple moments, and if I'm correct, the Blues with just a couple of shots on goal here in the second period. They're trying to crank it up a notch, but your defense is holding them back. How?
Well, you know what? I think what we're doing is we're moving the puck quickly out of our zone, so we're not hesitating. We've had a couple of turnovers just in the last couple of shifts there, so we got to be careful. They're giving us a good push, but we got to keep moving the puck up as quickly as we can.
Gary, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Guys.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Gary. From the draw, the Blues, Carl Gunnarsson with it now. Sends it up the left wing to Steen. Crosby with a back check took it right away from Steen over to Scuderi and out for Perron. Running into him at center ice was Petteri Lindbaum, but the Penguins able to dump the puck in. Hornquist went to work. Backus comes back, picks up the puck and moves it out to center. Steen, quick pass to the right wing to Oshie. And Oshie whips it to the net. Rice the save. Steen pounces on the rebound but takes a hip check from Sidney Crosby, who quickly moves it along to Perron and now to Hornquist. Sid working all three zones in this one.
And using all four players on the ice every time he's been out there. Solid all-around game again for 87.
And that Backus, Oshie, Steen line has 74 points in 21 games played in this calendar year. You know, Gary Agnew spoke English to Dan Potash. He was born in Niagara Falls, New York, or Canada rather, and moved to Montreal as a young boy where he learned French. And he speaks French to the French-Canadian players on this team like Letang and Debray and Marc-Andre Fleury and Max Lapierre and David Perron. So it's kind of a nice thing to have as an assistant coach, as a guy who can kind of speak that language to those guys. A great French-Canadian contingent for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Here's Martin with a shot right to the glove of Elliott, and he holds on to it.
Tougher save than it looked. That puck was knuckling all the way in like Phil Niekro, knuckleball, and Elliott had to follow it right into his glove on that feed from Martin, and Letang working that give and go from the blue line off a Penguin face-off win.
Elliott 3-0-1 in his last 4 starts against the Penguins. Here's Letang with it now. Out to Martin. The shot blocked by Schwartz. Martin got it back and wristed it into the slot. And Como can't find it. This is Jori Lehtera with it. 3rd round pick of the Blues, offside.
Oh, great job by Letang holding that blue line. Talk about gap. That's great gap.
Relive a memorable game from the Pirates 2014 season Monday nights on Pirates Playback. Series continues as Garrett Cole pitches a gem and the Pirates get a lucky bounce in the 9th to beat the Red Sox September 18th, continue their push for the playoffs. See it again on Pirates Playback Monday at 7 on Root Sports.
Penguins are winning the face-off battle against the league's #2 face-off team in the Blues. Gotch back on the ice right now, 17-15. Make it 18-15 for the Penguins in the face-off circle in this one.
Paul Martin dumps it softly to the right wing corner. And Cole checked by Spaulding, and the Penguins end up with a puck right in front, and Elliott finds that loose puck in the paint. There's Spaulding and Sutter, and now Bo Bennett all right there on the doorstep.
And I would just step away right now if I'm the Penguins. Don't give the Blues anything to rally around in this game. You got things in hand. Collapse to that net when the puck gets there. That's exactly what the Penguins are looking for, and then get out. Look at Letang. Talk about gap. You got to match your speed. Try not to give up the blue line. Watch the stick come out and force that offside. Great job by Chris Letang, who's got tons of confidence in his skating ability, both forward and backward. And another good opportunity for Malkin here is won his last 2 offensive zone faceoffs.
Malkin, Kunitz, and Como.
Look at Letang is sitting on the edge of the boards right now, waiting to change. Off Pouliot, off Bortuzzo, on Martin, and Letang against the Tarasenko unit.
Tarasenko with it. Tarasenko into the slot, drops it to Gunnarsson, a shot, a blocker saved by Greiss. And the Blues get the rebound. Centering pass in the circle by Tarasenko for Lehtera. And Lehtera swings it around to the far board. Flying down the wall is Lindbaum. And now Schwartz looks for the puck, but the Penguins have it. And then there's Kunitz firing it back out to center ice. And a foot race now as Gunnarsson goes back. Ian Como, Gunnarsson rims it around to the near side and all the way to center, where Jaden Schwartz feeds it ahead at center ice for Paul Stastny. He dumps it to the corner. Letang goes back for it. Up the wall for Paul Martin. Now to Spaulding. And the Penguins neatly bring the puck out of their own zone to center. Here's Bo Bennett with some speed down the wing. Bennett trying to swing wide on Bolmeister. He took him hard to the corner boards, but now Malkin follows on to get to the puck. Malkin checked from behind by Jaskin, but holds that puck along the wall. Back to Bortuzzo. And he just flipped one to the net that hit the body in front and is now taken by Berglund, and he's able to feed it ahead to Jaskin. And there's Sutter stepping up on him as he passes it to Stastny. He steered it in. Bortuzzo back to get it. And now Pouliot looks for the puck, sends it up the wall for Bo Bennett. Bennett feeds it back into the circle for Bortuzzo. Gets his feet moving and comes to center ice. Bortuzzo skating with confidence, dumps it into the blue zone. 6:43 to go in the period. Long lead pass to Jaskin off his stick. And it'll be icing as a result. They'll bring it back into the St. Louis zone.
Well, we know how great Greiss has been so far in this game, and Marc-Andre Fleury has only allowed 6 goals in his last 6 games, Staggy. He'll get the nod. It looks like tomorrow against the Florida Panthers, a 6 o'clock start for the Flower against the night off.
A sublime performance by Fleury against the Columbus Blue Jackets the other night. It was just beautiful. The only problem was the Penguins didn't win the game. But for him, perfect. He was outstanding. Here's Dupre, bumped by Berglund. Puck stays inside the line. Hornquist. And Hornquist checked by Stastny, but maintained possession of the puck around for Perron. He whips it right through the slot. Now Dupre moving up. And Dupre for Perron. And Perron's shot blocked. Hornquist tried to get to it. And the Blues able to just get it to center and no further. And now it's Scuderi across for Simon Dupre. Ahead to Crosby. Sidney Crosby drops it to Perron. Perron turns to the forehand and looks at the net. He had a man cutting that way. It was Crosby. He couldn't get on the puck. But it comes to Scuderi. Back for Sid. Sid's really working hard right now. Down low in the blue zone. Look at him shuffling along here. Driving with that right skate. And now he sets it up for Letang. It comes all the way through. Scuderi's shot off the glove of Elliott, who was reaching out for it. It was off the net. And now the Blues counter. And it's Oshie skating down the right wing, trying to drag it into the middle. And Scuderi and Letang team up to prevent him from getting a shot away. Steen follows on. Letang working hard between Oshie and the puck and the boards and able to work it up the wall. Nice play by Adams on the right wing wall to find Sill. Now to LaPierre. He's skating well tonight. LaPierre closing in and shooting it off a leg. Adams hustles over to keep it alive into the corner. There's Jackman there. Sends it up the wall. And it is Oshie and Backus working it to center. Adams right there to check Steen. Good back checking effort by Sill, and the Penguins break up the play at the line, and LaPierre's got it. And now it'll be taken by Porter of the Blues.
But he used 4 lines. We talked about that. That Sidney Crosby shift, that last shift was incredible in the neutral zone and behind the net, protecting the puck in traffic, using his players, Staggy. A tremendous shift by 87 Crosby, and the Penguins are sticking to their guns with their defense.
Paul Martin with it now, ahead for Como. He looks up for the puck. It comes to Gunnarsson, but he hit Como's stick with it, and Como's got possession. Jumping on from the bench is Kunis to take the drop pass from Como. Through for Malkin. Malkin to Dupre. The quick shot to the net. Score! Deflected in by Como. He deflected it in from the high slot, I think. And the Pittsburgh Penguins have a 3-0 lead. I don't know who touched it. It might have been Como. As it came through, it definitely changed direction on Brian Elliott.
Wow, what a switch here. Dupre, Bortuzzo. Look at the switch. The hand goes up. Let's switch sides. I think he wanted to go back to Malkin. That puck wasn't even in the shooting zone. Dupre just got it to the net. Malkin to Dupre. You can see the puck go in. There's the high deflection. It might have hit Kunitz as well down low. 2 players in the lane of that Dupre shot after the defense switched. I love that. The hand signal. Hey, let's make the switch up high so I can get a good opportunity on the right side. And the Penguins are up 3-0.
4:22 remaining in the second period. Blake Como with a good stick out there in the high slot on the shot by Simon Dupre.
I love the momentum the Penguins have built from shift to shift. They got everybody going here. They've been relentless. They've been dogging the puck. Crosby had one of those Crosby-like shifts that only he can have, protecting the puck just prior to that goal by whoever. Como, I believe, is going to get credit for his second of the game.
Now it's Tarasenko with it in the blue zone. He was robbed early in this period by Thomas Greiss. Puck out of play on the near side. 3:56 remaining in the period. The Penguins up 3-0. And Blake Como is credited with his second goal of the hockey game. And that is his 3rd road goal of the year. His 14th of the season overall.
A couple of switches here. Martin's going to come off the ice. Dupre comes off the ice. He's actually a right defenseman, so he wants to switch so Bortuzzo could come off for Pouliot. At the same time, Kunitz comes off the bench, gets to the front of the net. So quick change is important. I was very interesting to see that, for me, Staggy, Simon Dupre came on for the left defenseman Martin. Sometimes they will just do that. The more experienced guy will come on the ice. Then Pouliot came on the ice for Bortuzzo. So really good stuff there. The Penguins on the switch up high with their defenseman, and then the quick change by Kunitz has certainly had an influence on the goal.
Here's Perron into the blue zone for Crosby, just under his stick. Hornquist on the right wing wall. Sid made a good play just a moment ago to get the puck out of the Penguin zone on the wall. He's been really good in all 3 zones tonight.
Relax, says Malkin. Relax. We're going to be okay. And so far tonight, the Penguins have been more than okay.
Just a reminder, as you enjoy the cold one, to look forward to Miller time later in the game, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Thomas Greiss, you talk about somebody that's been okay. He's a calming guy. You want relaxed? He kind of gives you that relaxed feeling when he's in the net. And he made some big saves here on Steen and Tarasenko in this hockey game.
Pietrangelo with a puck. Snaps it out on right wing. And the Blues can't get anything going there in the neutral zone as it's just dumped to open space where Dupre can find Malkin. Malkin driving in. Malkin on the backhand and a save made by Elliott. Gino controlling that puck, finding a good scoring opportunity.
Where did everybody go? How do you leave Malkin just come out? The Blues went to the front of the net, took away all the options. Gino goes behind the net, gets refuge. And you know what happens there is you got guys like Kunitz, they just interfere. Pietrangelo in front of the net. Kunitz uses his body so that Malkin can come around, and you can see Kunitz, he's just like a human shield, just interfering on the Blues defense so that Malkin can make the play. And we've seen a couple of plays made from behind the net, Staggy, using that area. We saw that when Letang went down to Crosby for the Hornquist goal in this period, and right there.
Derek Pouliot back for the puck in his own zone. Is hit down there by Jaskin, and the Blues end up with a puck on the forecheck. Backhand shot by Jaskin is stopped by Greiss. Penguins don't want to give the Blues any life here. They're up 3-0. He's going to play smart hockey now. There's Ian Cole back into his own zone. You got to keep playing. I mean, you don't want to be sitting back either. And now here's Berglund moving it along.
That's a good point, and they've said that in previous, learning from previous games, to not sit back and keep the pressure on, especially on the puck, the first man.
There's a shot by LaPierre that's stopped by Elliott. Berglund to the puck, banks it ahead. Out of the reach of Jackman. Spaulding went down in a heap, and Martin headmans the puck to Bo Bennett. And Bennett stopping up, shooting, and a save made by Elliott. No rebound.
The 18th shot for the Penguins in the hockey game. 14 only for the Blues. Thomas Greiss has made huge saves in the hockey game. That one, Steen had a breakaway in a 0-0 game. Another big save by the blocker. And in a 1-0 game, he's able to stop Tarasenko off the Gotch feed. And talking to the Blues, I just did not imagine that Tarasenko he weighs 222 pounds, Staggy, and Brett Hall says his forearms are about the size of his.
That means they're pretty big.
Oh, they're huge.
I wonder if they're the size of his dad's. Bobby Hull. Oh, my goodness.
Throwing the bales of hay with a pitchfork.
Oh, man, I'd like to show that picture. That was a great picture in Sports Illustrated years ago, and I've got it on my phone. Bobby Hull on the farm. It's just amazing. He was a real strong shooter, and he can fire the puck 100 miles an hour. Here's Oshie with it now. To the right side. And Reeves with a shot up on one leg, and that was blocked and taken by Brandon Sutter, and he's able to lift it out to center. Bo Bennett runs into a man in neutral ice. It's Oshie. He finds Gotch. Gotch is back on the ice now. Getting after the puck to the corner. Paul Martin steps in front of him. Now Letang hit by Gotch. Martin's able to get there to feed it up the wall, but it's out of the reach of Sutter, and back to Bouwmeester. His shot hit a leg. And the Penguins can't get it out. Finally, it's Bo Bennett giving ground against Gotch. Good skating here to just tap it off the boards into the Blues zone. And now Reeves will take it. And the Penguins will get a change here as Bouwmeester looks ahead. 1 minute remaining in the period. Steal by Letang. Feeds it up the right wing. Taken there by David Perron. Perron's got Hornquist driving the net. He shoots it. And I think it put the glove of Elliott and up into the netting. And we'll get a face-off in the St. Louis zone with 50 seconds to go. A rare opportunity for Bob to be downstairs on the road.
Yeah, you know, I love being down here on the road. You know, you get a feel of how the other team's changing and what they're trying to work on here. Tarasenko is working up high, Steen trying to get behind the Penguins defense, but what we've seen here is an inability for the Blues to really get the puck to those guys, Staggy, because of the Penguin pressure. That's the difference in this game right now. They get that first man pressure, not allowing the Blues to really get anything going. Only 14 shots.
Sidney Crosby behind the net to the backhand, steps out. Crosby stick handling in a phone booth, moves it back to Scuderi. And he'll dump it back in behind the net. Sid will take it there again. Penguins on the march again here in the offensive zone. Here's Hornquist, and he dumps it intentionally wide on the bank pass for Perron. And Perron turns off the wall. He finds Crosby out to Dupre, a shot. Sid doesn't know where the puck is. It's right there next to him. Now he looks for it. It is Schwartz turning with it. 6 seconds to go in the period. And now the Blues maybe with one quick rush here. Schwartz comes up the wing. And he centers. And Pietrangelo can't do anything with it as the horn sounds ending the second period. The Blues with only 14 shots on goal through 2 periods of play. The Penguins with 20.
Yep, and they played last night. I don't know whether they're going to find the steam to get anything going in the third. Not the way the Penguins are playing. The Penguins, you really using behind the net effectively in that second period.
Hornquist from Crosby and Letang, Como from Dupre and Malkin. Let's go to Robin Jay.
Staggy and Bob, thanks very much. One of the questions from Mike Johnson before the game was how do you keep the good defense going? Because the Penguins have been playing great defense and get the offense going. The Penguins have been able to do that through 40 minutes, Jay.
Yeah, you know, we showed something in between the first and second period. That was just from a face-off in the offensive zone. But having a guy high, they're aggressive on their forecheck. when you put pressure on guys, you make them make mistakes. It's just what's happening right now. Pittsburgh is making them look pedestrian, if you ask me. St. Louis does not. They don't have energy. They're not. I don't see the real heavy game that everybody's talking about. Through 2 periods, we have not seen it. Pittsburgh is taking it to St. Louis. Just keep it going.
And the Penguins got a power play goal. Their first in the month of February. Patrick Hornquist scored it. Dan Potash is going to catch up with him. Jay will tell us straight. He'll give you his thoughts on what the Penguins need to do to close things out in the third. That and more coming up in the second intermission report, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. A really good first 40 minutes for the Penguins at the Scottrade Center in St. Louis. The offense has picked up. The defense has remained strong. If you're just joining us, here's what you've missed, presented by your Western PA Honda dealers.
Look out here. Backhand shot, score! Blake Como buries it right in the paint. Lifted it off the glass around Letang. Down the wing comes Gotch. Center shot. Great save by Grice on Tarasenko. Protects the puck against Backus. There's Letang moving up deep. Now for Crosby in front. Hornquist. He scores! Through for Malkin. Malkin to Dupre. The quick shot to the net. Score! Deflected in by Como. He deflected it in from the high slot, I think. Well, Malkin and Crosby each have assists, Bob. Como breaks a 3-game scoreless streak. Hornquist a 4-game scoreless streak. So the Penguins do have the offense going here tonight.
How do you like the new lines? The Penguins knew coming into this game they were going to have to play 4 lines, match the St. Louis Blues, and try to go at them that way. Blake Como, instant chemistry for him in the hockey game with a pair of goals. Look at the home road comparison. 3 goals on the road now, the plus-minus. Great to see him back from that wrist injury for Blake Como, and looking sharp in this one.
Third period underway, and the Penguins hope to just keep doing what they've been doing. Play the same way, play smart. Still a long way to go, 20 minutes, and this is the highest scoring team in the Western Conference they're facing tonight. Simon Dupre back to get the puck, taps it along for Scuderi, up the wall. The Penguins and Blues are virtually dead even in terms of defensive hockey, and that's I think a compliment to the Penguins, because you expect the Blues to be in that category. But the Penguins are right up there with the Blues in terms of their defense this year, and the Penguins are still trying to find that balance, to strike that balance between defense and offense.
Both teams had allowed 95 goals against coming into this game, 58 games apiece. So yeah, the Penguins are going to move ahead of them in that category as of right now.
Long lead pass, and Hornquist steers it into the Blues zone. Back to get it goes Lindholm. Crosby trying to prevent the Blues from getting out. Forces it in behind the goal, and Lindholm goes back to get it. Lindholm, a 21-year-old player out of Finland, and the shot by Crosby to the glove of Elliott.
Look at the pressure on the puck. First man pressure over, turnovers, shot on net.
There's the favorite jerseys from folks that are tweeting in to us. Brought to you by Point Park University.
Super.
Like those camo jerseys.
Hey, must have been the skate with the greats there the other night, Steggy. It's fun being out there with some of the old squad.
You still had the hop.
I don't know about that, Steggy. I don't know about that. But the folks there were great. Very appreciative.
Pietrangelo shooting. Grice came way out to challenge and make the save. Puck still loose. Grice down on his back. Where's the puck? He's got it frozen with some help from his friends in front of the goal. And now a battle in front between Tarasenko and Hornquist.
Yeah, Hornquist, he loves playing against the Blues. Just loves it. He's got a marker in this game, and Chris Letang got involved there as well. I don't know if the initial shot hit Grice or Letang, but Letang had it in his breadbasket. He didn't know what to do with it. He couldn't hold on to it. He didn't want to take a penalty. Let's just take a look as that puck comes back to the point. There's Grice. Then it goes into the stomach of Letang and drops down to his feet. And the Blues try to converge on Letang, who's got it right there around his pants. And look, a couple of snow angels keeping that puck out.
There's a lot of snow angels in Pittsburgh right now from what we hear. Or at least the opportunity to make one. Maybe you could tweet us a picture of a snow angel. Because there's been snowing all day in the Berg, and a little bit of that here in St. Louis, but not much. Pretty nice day here generally.
How about Grice putting water on his stick, and then kind of feeling for the tackiness through his. maybe his blocker hand there. You start the third period, it's a little dry because he had it on the air dryer. He needs a little more dampness there in the hand to grip that stick, Staggy. You put water right on that stick, right where you grab it with the blocker hand.
Dupre holds it in for Como in deep. Up the wing now, it's Backes moving into the middle, and Dupre there. Hands it off to Scuderi. Como couldn't take the pass cleanly. Laterra for Backes. Penguins able to get it away from the Blues, and Kunitz steers it up into the St. Louis zone.
Well, this is a good
icing against Pittsburgh.
Yes, an icing here and a face-off. You don't want to sit back. And Staggy, let's look at some pants.
Well, the Los Angeles Kings playing in that stadium series tonight against San Jose are wearing those white pants, and it occurred to me that somebody else wore white pants once. I remember it, and it's true. It's back in '74. The Washington Capitals wore them for half of their road schedule until they became soiled with sweat stains, and they said we can't do that anymore, so they went to blue pants. But in their first year in the league, they wore white pants. They won one road game that year, the last game of the season. Their last road game they won. That was the only one they won on the road all season. Wow. Here's now Steen shooting. Good save by Greiss with a right pad on Steen.
Which made it difficult there because Steen had to corral it with his right skate, and it kind of throws the goalie off. Not Thomas Greiss, who stayed in the 4x6, was able to adjust to the timing of that shot from Steen.
Sill's got a good stride going tonight. He's skating well for the Penguins. He's in on the forecheck right now for the Pens on the fourth line. And now it's Lapierre trying to get it back to the goal. Lapierre continues to control. Wrists it to the net. Frozen by Elliott.
Don't sit back. You keep that good stride. You get on that puck, and you don't allow the Blues to bring it to you. Well, we talked about Steen. What a season he had last year, Alexander Steen. Look, he stopped it with the right skate. Thomas Greiss way up to the top of the blue paint. It's a really good play by Steen, but a better save by Thomas Greiss, who's been large in this game for Pittsburgh.
Best game he's played in a while, and his numbers really aren't that bad lately. He was 3-1-2 in his last 6 starts, so only 1 regulation loss in those 6, 3 wins. And here's Pouliot delivering it in behind the goal, and Backman taking it. Penguins haven't really been real good in front of Greiss at times. I think they feel like they had to play better for him. They kind of let up, as you remember, in the third period against the Senators on the road recently. That's something they do not want to do in this one here in St. Louis. They want to keep the pressure on and keep their details in their game. Reeves dumps it to the corner. Bortuzzo back. Reeves in on the forecheck. Sends it around. Jackman pushed it back towards the net and hit a man. Behind the goal, it's Gotch for Reeves. And taken away by Hornquist. And he steams up that right wing and just dumps it into the Blues zone. He'll get in after it himself. Porter in there as well. Hornquist got a stick on it first. 3 Blues in deep. Following on now is Spalling. And Jackman takes him against the wall. Then Hornquist is hit by Cole. That'll be a penalty, I think. It will be. I think Cole's going off.
Yeah, that's a rough. That's a rough there. A shot. Hornquist, he'll get under your prop.
You mentioned that Hornquist likes to play against the Blues. He now has 6 goals, 17 points in 26 games against them.
And there the Penguins are trying to win a battle 2-on-3. There's a shot by Cole. Hornquist is going to get up again. And after that, it's just the penalty on the birthday boy, Cole, 26 years old today.
Penguins with another power play opportunity, a UPMC Sports Medicine power play. They scored on the power play in the first. Penguins are 1 for 1 on the power play, and they've been averaging about 2 power play opportunities a game over the last 9 games. Here's Crosby working into the point. Letang to Malkin. Fakes the shot. Is checked by Oshie, but then Letang over to help out and gets it to Malkin. Feeds it all the way through for Crosby. Back up top to Letang. Over to Malkin. Malkin with a wrister this time, and a glove save made by Elliott. And there's Hornquist right there in front of the goal again.
That was interesting there. Malkin shot it the second time, but not the first.
The Capitals winners again today. And look at the standings. The Penguins are now in that first wild card position. If the playoffs started right now, they would play the Montreal Canadiens, I think. I'm going to look at that again, at least as of this afternoon. That may have changed, though. I think maybe now it would be the Islanders. Either way, the Penguins, if the playoffs would start today, they would be on the road. And they would play the Islanders. So there you go. They still would have to play a Metropolitan Division team if it started today. A long way to go, obviously. Here's Malkin. Fakes the shot for Crosby. He scores! He steered it inside the post.
They're saying no goal. Crosby's got his arms up in the air. The referee standing on the back of the net.
Hornquist was knocked on his back, I think, by Jackman. He's still down on his backside as the...
No, he's saying it's inside the post, too. And Sidney Crosby right away figured on that shot pass redirect that puck was in over the goal line. Just take a good look at it there to me. Boy, that puck looks like it's in. It's got to be in. It's got to be in. His pad is way behind the net. But the question is, can you see it? Oh, that's awfully tough. There's no way of telling that puck's across the goal line. As Hornquist just got hammered into the post, as you said, Staggy. After all that, everybody was kind of looking around. And Hornquist really took a shot.
Is that the puck right there and right next to the post, or is that the post I'm looking at? Boy, it looks like it sneaked in there to me.
It's hard. It's really so hard to tell, isn't it? It's got to be all the way across the goal line, remember, and it wasn't called a goal on the ice. Shot, redirect. You're thinking it's all the way across that goal line. It's impossible to tell. Crosby raises the arms, and then Jackman takes a cheap shot, really. A cheap shot at Hornquist that gets knocked into the goalpost. The puck disappeared under that right pad, the toe of Elliott. The question is, can you just definitively say that that whole puck was across that line? I can't. I can't from here what I'm looking at. There's a little bend in the pad there, obviously, about 6 inches up. There's that little bend in the goaltender's pad. And it was kind of in that area, it seemed. There's Gary Agnew and Mike Johnson. Last time we had to endure a long replay in Vancouver where Mike Johnson was convinced it was a goal. The net was knocked off its moorings. This is a different situation here. Not a timing issue here. This is more, did it cross the goal line completely or not? And I didn't see anything that showed me it did, Staggy.
Rob Martell, Wes McCauley, a couple of good referees tonight. Jay Sherers and Shane Hyder. Very, very experienced crew.
The only thing I saw was the referee on the back of the net as that puck went under the right toe.
Boy, it looks
right
like
pad.
it disappears behind the post, but
it does. But
you just don't know if it's all the way disappearing.
And you got to tell Doug Armstrong, the general manager of the Blues, if you call it a goal, you got to have some sort of visual evidence to let him know, because he'll be phoning right back down on you. So you're going to need the visual evidence here.
Unless they have an angle we haven't seen yet.
You're going to need X-ray vision for that one, I believe. Well, the only one that's got that one is Reeves, I think. I don't know. It's going to be tough. Tough to see.
While we're waiting for a decision, here's how hard it is for the teams in the league to stop the Blues. They're a good scoring team. They have 6 6-goal games, 2 7-goal games, and 4 5-goal games this year. 12 games with 5 goals or more, and right now they've got none. 3-0, and the Penguins hoping that it's going to be 4-0.
4 19-plus goal scorers in the National Hockey League. Boy, it seems like that puck disappeared behind that goal line. The question is, it certainly disappeared there. I couldn't tell you if it's all the way across or not. And that's a great look, guys. The best look we have, folks. And it's a guessing game from there. I mean, that's a great look. It's just, I don't know where the puck is right now. I can't tell you exactly. I would guess that it is across, but
I thought you could see it behind the post. It seemed to me you could see it come out the other side. Right there, you can kind of see black there. See right there, Bob? Just above the, right behind the post.
See a shadow.
Yeah, the shadow of the puck.
But I don't know if it's all the way across that line. And that's why they want the goaltender to tape the butt end of his stick white, Staggy. They don't want it black up there on the top of the butt end in case the butt end is in that area. And we've seen that a couple of times. Malkin Subban actually had a different colored knob on his stick last night, so Fleury had to change his. And this is by far to me the best look. I mean, I see the shadow of the puck. I see it disappear there. To me, I'm assuming that it's across the line all the way, but I can't tell you for sure. And they're really taking a long, hard look at this. I mean, we're blowing this up as best we can here for you guys. And you can make your determination at home if that black puck is all the way over that goal line. Right there, you're thinking it's just about in there, and you're thinking it has to be there.
Yeah.
But you're assuming, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking it is, yes. And they're taking a lot of time because they're thinking the same thing we are, and
that means they
have to take a long time to reverse a call, Bob.
Yeah.
You can't not that it was reversed, because they didn't say it wasn't a goal. They just didn't say that it was. It's kind of the new way of doing it, just to make sure that they don't put themselves in a position where they don't look good. It's almost like they have to just kind of leave it up to the folks in Toronto to decide.
Yeah, and you want to try to get it right. And
exactly.
And
they usually do get it right. I thought they got it right in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Boy, I'll tell you, this is about the longest delay we've had ever on one of these.
Yeah. Now the goaltending has been good in the hockey game. And Thomas Greiss has made the timely saves when he's had to keep the Penguins ahead in the games, and a chance to, a Steen opportunity early, save on Tarasenko, and now the players are skating around trying to get their legs. The St. Louis Blues are off the bench. They have a dozen players on the ice. The Penguins only have about 5 players on the ice right now. This is a power play, by the way, for the Penguins that we're on. It's been about 5 minutes here that they've been looking at this. So went in about 6 minutes ago, or it went under the pad about 6 minutes ago. And I think we have to just look at the 3-0 right now and think that either way that this thing isn't going to deter the way you're playing. There it is blowing up as it disappears under that right toe, the right pad of the netminder Elliott. And Patrick Hornquist comes over.
After reviewing the play, the call on the ice stands. We have no goal.
Wow. There must have been some kind of debate going on in Toronto about that one. That was not an easy decision for them to make, or it would have been made a lot sooner. Wow.
You just can't assume, Staggy. And I guess it's the bottom line there. They couldn't show anybody a picture that it was all the way across. Took 8 minutes to come to that decision.
56 seconds remaining on the penalty to Cole. The Penguins still up 3-0 in the game. And Letang cruising. Beautiful skating as he moves it on to Malkin, who steers it into the St. Louis zone. Kunitz gets in after it against Gunnarsson, who fell down, and Crosby finds Letang at the point. Back over to Malkin. Now to Crosby. Sidney Crosby, slap shot, save made by Elliott. That up high and it hurt him and hit him in the collarbone.
It hurt him. Yeah, he's down right now, shaking his head. A hard shot by Sidney Crosby off the half wall with traffic in front of Elliott.
Now Sid is talking to the referee here,
saying that puck was in the net. Sidney Crosby cradling the puck, gliding a little bit backwards. Kunitz in front, and Elliott really took a hard shot up high. Sidney Crosby still never scored a goal against the Blues. And he was that close, Steggy. 8 minutes later, he was denied of his 20th of the season. He's stuck on 19 and still hasn't scored against St. Louis or San Jose, the only two teams.
Here's Backes dragging that puck to center ice. Como dogging him all the way, and then a beautiful hip check by Letang, a rodeo check there on Backes. And here comes Como skating well into the blue zone. And Brandon Sutter dumps it to the corner. Como winds it around now for Perron. 12 seconds to go on the penalty. David Perron with Sutter in the high slot. Perron looks it over, finds Letang, closing in, now leaves it for Pouliot. Pouliot doesn't shoot it. Down to 2 seconds, 1 second, the shot, then hit a leg. And the penalty is over. Cole is on the ice. And Como for Sutter, the shot right over the head of Elliott and off the glass. Pouliot to Como, a drive, and that one just missed. Bouwmeester moves it along, and the Blues come to center. And this defenseman Pietrangelo into the Penguin zone. And another hit on this near side on Pietrangelo by Letang. So a couple of checks on the wall for Letang, but now here's a shot by Lindblom that goes whistling over the head of Greiss. Now Letang gets involved with Pietrangelo, so they're taking exception to the fact that Letang hit Backes and then Pietrangelo, so the Blues pushing back a bit here.
That was a good hit. He fell on Pietrangelo, and then he came back with a cross check. There was some stuff that went on prior to that. Chris Letang showing that he's not backing down from anybody going after Backes. Pietrangelo, couple of good hip checks.
Time for our Subway sandwich of the game. I got a feeling I know what it is.
Well, that was a good Subway right there. The Submarines Backes head over heels. Letang. Wow, what a hit that was. Perfectly timed. Backes killing a penalty. And then these two exchanging some cross checks and some opinions in the penalty box as Letang was trying to explain his situation. A couple of great defensemen that we highlighted in the open.
Here's Bouwmeester, one of the smooth skaters in the game, as he dumps the puck into the Penguin zone. Fed back in behind the net to Jaden Schwartz. Schwartz turning against Paul Martin, who stays with him. Schwartz taking some whacks on the hands and the arms from Martin. Now out to Gunnarsson, a drive kicked away by Greiss. Hornquist going to work now. Scuderi up the wall for Crosby, who tried to move it along for Hornquist. Now diving to the ice was Jaden Schwartz, getting it back to center though to Bouwmeester, and Bouwmeester bumped by Hornquist. He was kind of indecisive there with the puck, and Hornquist bumped him right off of it, and now Paul Martin's got it, and the Blues change up. Tarasenko comes on the ice, pressuring Kunitz here, who drops it off to Scuderi.
Open ice here. You got to be careful of Tarasenko out there on the ice. He'll be cheating, and you don't want to turn it over. Oh, so close.
Scuderi sure-handed that time, made sure that he got that puck to center ice. Now he goes to the bench, and Malkin moves it across. Dupre dumps it in, but
too far.
It'll be an icing as he shot it from behind the red line. You wonder why they don't call a goal on the ice, right? There's two referees. Usually one is behind the net, but the one official just wasn't on the right side of the net when this puck went in, so he didn't have a view of it as it went across the line. And there's no way of telling there, obviously, from behind the net, but you see where the referee is on the left of your screen, and he just doesn't have a good view of it. And that's where it all starts. And he's where he's supposed to be. He just happens to be on the wrong side of where he's supposed to be. What are you going to do? You can't be in two places at once, can you, Bob?
You just can't. Oh, man, there's a little chop there by Malkin, and the Penguins want to keep the puck deep here. Don't turn the puck over at the far blue line. Still be aggressive.
4-on-4 hockey, and there's a high shot up off the glass, and now Bortuzzo to the corner for Malkin. Look out. He felt Backes coming and ducked out of the way of that just in time. Backes looking to take a little extra piece of Evgeny Malkin. They push and shove. There's another hit by Backes. We're far away from the puck. He's challenging Malkin now. And Bortuzzo comes over and says, that's enough of that.
Backes is doing what he has to. He's the captain, and this is where the Penguins have to show composure. We talked about that as being a key in the hockey game right now. Show composure. Don't be penalized in this situation. Backes got rocked by Letang. He's trying to save face right now.
Well, the one person that should be penalized in this situation is David Backus. But it's going to be Robert Bortuzzo. You talked about composure. Bortuzzo came over to defend Malkin. He's going to the box. Is Backus going in too?
Yeah.
Yes, he is. Good.
Yeah.
For a second there, I thought he wasn't.
Well, you got to be careful. You're Bortuzzo. You come over there and you engage with Backus. That's where you talk to him. That's where you don't go in with that big, vicious shot. You're going to draw the penalty, and Backus is going to win the battle. That's where you have to come in there and say, hey, listen, let's separate here, and let's go at it. Bortuzzo's going to come in hard there. You know, make sure you don't come in too hard. You just say, hey, I'm ready for you. I'm right here. Let me. Come through me. Don't mess with our star player. So Backus is going down to the...
They got misconduct penalties.
Yep. So he's done.
Penguins are down to 5 defensemen, though. Still a lot of time left. 11:38 remaining.
Get your stick up, protect yourself when guys are coming at you. Malkin good at that. So the 2s and 10s, 2s for roughing and 10-minute misconducts. The only way we'll see those guys again is if we go to overtime.
They lose their captain, a key guy for them, but the Penguins are down to 5D, so they'll have to make do with that. Here's Pouliot sending it out to center ice. Penguins up 3-0 in this game. Back to 5-on-5 hockey now as Pietrangelo and Letang are set free. Now Sutter knocks it out of midair and gobbled up by Alex Steen. So Bouwmeester. Pietrangelo. This is Schwartz for Steen. The shot, save. Steen tried to jam his own rebound in, and Greiss wouldn't let him do that. Now Schwartz to the point. Pietrangelo, wrist one, bouncing puck. Steen trying to get a hold of it. Send it up the wall for Schwartz. Bo Bennett takes him into the wall. Oshie stepped in. Here's Schwartz trying to come to the net. Greiss stepped out to sweep it away to the corner. But the Blues have it. Pietrangelo to Bouwmeester, cruising in, shooting, and the save by Greiss. Again, on his angle, coming out to challenge a bit to make the save on Bouwmeester and making sure there's no rebound. On the latest edition of the Penguins in the Room, Zach Sill is mic'd up for practice in Edmonton. Max Lapierre meets his new team while in D.C. and much more in the Room tonight after postgame on Root Sports.
Looked like a double screen there in front for Thomas Greiss, who really fought around that traffic to make the save on Bouwmeester in that last opportunity. The Pouliot and a blue right in front of Thomas Greiss has really battled for his ice in front of his net.
Paul Martin gets in there, moves it up the wall now. Hornquist trying to get it out. Tough sledding over there on the far wall, and a chance here. Letang able to keep the puck from coming to Laterra. Just threw it off the wall. Hornquist got it ahead to Perron and now to Crosby. And the Blues stop him in his tracks at the blue line, and this is Gunnarsson with it. Gunnarsson retreating in his own zone, now trying to go north. And able to get it over to Tarasenko, and he'll carry to center. Hornquist comes over and sends him flying. And the Penguins have possession. And it's Paul Martin with it. Ahead now for Perron cruising in.
Tarasenko took a penalty on Hornquist.
So the Penguins are going to get another power play opportunity. Perron turning to his forehand. 6 Penguins on the ice. Greiss is in on the bench now. Here's the pass down low to Perron, across to Crosby. The shot, and he lifted it high and wide. It's going to stay with the Penguins here. Paul Martin dumps it back into the corner for Perron and in behind the net. Crosby wants to get it if he can, but the Blues get possession to draw the whistle. 9:39 to go, and the Penguins have a power play coming up.
Hornquist, he's tough to play against. There's the hit on Tarasenko. Tarasenko didn't like it. Took that shot.
David Perron, the Blues' #1 pick in 2007, has some fond memories of his time here, and this has to be one of them. November 21st, 2009, against the Islanders, splits 2 defensemen, then passes the puck between his legs, and then beats Dwayne Rollison for the goal. Yeah, not too bad. It would later be called the goal of the year by NHL.com.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now I know why he loves Kovalev so much. I love the big Covey. Here's a lead pass into the middle now. The Penguins are on the power play. Tarasenko in the box. Short-handed chance. Big save by Greiss. as he robs Marcel Gottsch. I don't remember Gottsch ever doing anything quite that exciting in all the time he was with Pittsburgh.
Well, Malkin was playing defense and decided he didn't want to play defense anymore. I don't know where he went. He got faked out by a pass. Penguins are up by 3, and Malkin's on the point.
Crosby's behind the net. Up to the right wing now, taken by Letang. Malkin, Crosby. Letang a shot, saved by Elliott. And he's trying to freeze that puck at the side of the net, and he does.
Well, Gottsch had a head of steam going down the middle of the ice. And watch Malkin right in the middle. He's faked out by the pass. Look who comes across the other way. Chris Letang. And then he got back for the rebound to clear that. Luckily, there was a rebound. And now the Penguins have a minute 16 left on their third power play of the night. Looked like they had their second power play goal. We had an 8-minute review to determine the puck didn't go across the goal line, or they couldn't tell.
Letang with it, and try to go to the middle to Hornquist. It stays in play, and the Blues able to clear it as Oshie sends it past Crosby down the ice. 8:36 remaining in this third period. The Penguins leading 3-0. Malkin carrying the puck up on the power play. Malkin challenged by Steen, dumps the puck to the corner and gets in after it against Bouwmeester. Bouwmeester turns out of that check. Crosby comes in to try to get it. Good hustle by Como, but then as he tried to go to the point, it was read well and carried back by Jaden Schwartz. Stripped of the puck nicely by Letang. Quick pass from Crosby to Malkin, but he fumbled the puck for a moment. Goes back to the net, and Crosby did get a stick down, but that puck deflected high and wide against Elliott. Now it's going to be Malkin stepping up to the puck. Slap shot, broke his stick, just went flying up in the air.
He came down and hit Como in the back. That thing boomeranged up in the air, came back down and hit Como right in the back. Wow.
It's 2 broken sticks for Gino tonight.
Talk about walking into a shot. He walked into that. It's flying in the air right now, and then it's going to come down and hit Como right in the back. Como's already got 2.
Face off to the left of Elliott with 21 seconds now remaining on the penalty to Tarasenko.
It's going to be a high stick on the puck if it's touched. So Stastny doesn't touch it. The Penguins Perron does.
Leaves it for Paul Martin. No Bortuzzo for the rest of the game for the Penguins as Martin carries the puck to the blue line. Finds Perron to the right wing and Sutter. Back for Como to Sutter. Backhand shot. Score! Brandon Sutter lifts it upstairs on Elliott. That's conclusive, and it's 4-0 Pittsburgh.
And once again, trying to track those backhands is tough for a netminder. Watch the puck support for the Penguins' second power play unit as they come up in unison. Look at that. That's like a formation there, the flying V or something, Staggy, or W, if you will. And there's the backhand shot to the glove hand. Como's going to pick up an assist. A snap of the wrist on the backhand for Sutter. Another power play goal, did I say? I think there was still time on the power play, was there not? Not exactly sure. It was
I think it may have just been taken away. We'll check and see, but either way, Elliott deep in his net on that goal. Sutter took advantage of that to lift it up over his glove into the goal. Blake Como gets another point. He gets an assist. Perron as well.
May not have been a power play. May have just expired, Staggy.
Not a power play goal.
Not a power play goal?
No.
Okay. Nonetheless, the Penguins will take it. Another solid hockey game right here for Pittsburgh. Defensively, have not given up a lot, and when they have, Thomas Greiss has really been solid.
Penguins move it to center ice. 7:03 remaining in the third period. Max Lapierre hitting against Bouwmeester. Lost his stick. Adams trying to play it. Comes along the wall for Porter, who lifts it out to center ice. Now Paul Martin steps up. It's amazing how many times I've seen 27 kind of leading the charge for the Blues. Pietrangelo, just as Letang does for the Penguins. Now here's Bo Bennett getting moving here into the Blues zone, but offside at the line.
Didn't even go over the line. He's got to go over the line to be offside. Now Sid's line, Malkin's line, and now Sutter's line chip in. They get a power play goal tonight. Really could have had two. If they had counted one with the video review, it didn't go the Penguins' way. So you've had a strong performance. And the Penguins have flipped their lines around here and really got a jolt of energy from it tonight.
And they got some big saves from Thomas Greiss at the beginning of this game. That one on Alex Steen was a huge one because it would have been the first goal of the game. And the Blues, as we've told you, I'm going to say that stat again, 24-1-2 when they score first. Here's Steen with it, centering now. Here's Jaden Schwartz, and he's stopped by Greiss. The rebound comes back out to Schwartz, to Cole, now to Jackman, a slap shot, blocked in front, and taken by Sutter. But taken away by Oshie. Out to the point to Cole. Slap shot blocked by Spaulding. And back into the corner where Oshie sees Sutter coming. Letang's got no helmet right now. He's able to get that puck along to Bo Bennett, who cleared it softly down the ice. No icing on the play as Cole goes back for the puck in his own zone.
More importantly, get Letang off the ice without that helmet. And he gets that change.
Tarasenko almost turned the puck over to Crosby, but he was able to get it ahead. And now it's Hornquist working deep in his own zone. Look out, right in front. Good shot. Score! Jaskin. He kind of fanned on that, it looked like, and it trickles over the line against Greiss to make it 4-1.
Yeah, it was almost one of those, remember the Jonathan Taves shootout goal, Staggy, where you take something off it and you go against the grain. And that's kind of what Jaskin did. All of a sudden, he found himself right in front of the net. Not sure how that puck got turned over. There's the lift of the stick by Tarasenko, and it went just under the pad and through the 5-hole of the netminder. Good play down low by Tarasenko to strip Hornquist to the puck, and the puck got to the front of the net. Now 4-1 with 5:27 left in this third period.
9th goal of the season for Jaskin, breaking the shutout bid of Thomas Greiss, who hasn't had one since January of 2014. 25 games have gone by without him getting a shutout. We were hoping for that here tonight, but it's not going to happen. As Jaskin gets the goal, now the Penguins go back to work offensively. Crosby after the puck to the corner. Over now for Perron. David Perron protects the puck. Brings it up high. Now he's forced back to center ice by Pietrangelo. Perron, though, does a good job to maintain possession of the puck and dumps it right back into the St. Louis zone. Dupre pitches to go get it. Bouwmeester got in front of him to work it behind the net to Paul Stastny. Jaskin from Laterra and Tarasenko. And now the long shot by Crosby, and Elliott will freeze it with Kunitz hanging around. And we'll take a break. 4:40 remaining in the third period. The Penguins up by 3 here in St. Louis.
Well, Como's not singing the blues tonight, Staggy. He has been on fire. A backhand opportunity to set the Penguins in flight. And then for Como, a redirect with traffic in front. And McDonald's player of the game. He's loving it, Blake Como.
And by the way, Sutter's goal has been changed back to a power play goal, Bob. It was a 10-21 penalty, 12-21 goal. So right as the penalty was ticking away, and the puck went in the net. So that will count as a power play goal for Brandon Sutter.
All right.
And the Penguins' fourth goal, a pretty good one to have in the bank because it's now 4-1. And now Paul Martin back to the puck in his own zone. Pressured by Laterra, who got an assist on that goal. And then Malkin able to jam it back to neutral ice. Tarasenko, who was taken 16th overall when he was drafted back in 2010.
And he just got whacked. I think it might have been Como's stick who come down on Tarasenko, got whacked in the hand. And he goes to the bench.
And Letang carries to center. And now it's Reeves going the other way. Martin steps up on him to try to take it away. And swooping in there to get the puck is Letang, with Porter hounding him, whacking him on the hands. And Letang lifts the puck up into the blue zone. And Elliott let it go by. No icing on the play as Bouwmeester swings it along for Pietrangelo. And now good back-checking, back pressure there by Sutter, taking it away from a Blue. And the Blues start up again. This is Gotch coming to the Penguin line and dumping it into the corner. Dupre goes in after it. Up the wall it comes, and Spaulding is bumped by Reeves. Now it's Dupre. Gotch pressuring Simon Dupre, who steps away from that check. Send it up the wall to Sutter. Bo Bennett in there reaching. Now it's Dupre with it. 3:12 to go in the hockey game. And it's Scuderi dumping the puck into the blue zone.
Look at the pressure on the puck. Lapierre come over there on Jackman. Force a quick play.
Up the wing comes Steen, trying to get it to the net. Ian Schwartz. Letang got in front of Schwartz. Now he steps over there and sends it up the wall. Couldn't get it out. Paul Martin will try. He goes right back up the far side. One hands it along the wall, and the Penguins are able to get it back to center. Adams trying to go north with it. It would turn it over to the neutral zone, and it's Oshie now, left side. Centering pass went right past Schwartz, cutting to the net. Anyway, Steen had him set up, and then he went down into the paint after fanning on the attempt. The centering pass came right by him. Taken by Oshie now. Well, that was a close call. They almost made it 4-2 right there.
Well, they really did, and it was a hard pass. It was going to be tough for Schwartz to steer into the net, and then he tried to draw a penalty as he went down after missing the pass from Steen.
Up to the point it comes, and Gunnarsson. Centering pass, a slap shot by Berglund. Misses the target.
Yeah, not by much.
No, he's another guy who's scored against the Penguins in his career with 3 goals in 7 games against them. Here goes David Perron. And Perron will dump the puck in behind the Blues goal. Lindholm goes back for it. Crosby trying to take it away from him and Paul Stastny now. Gunnarsson in there to get it. Perron bumps him after he moved it up the left wing boards. Jumping into the attack is Lindholm. Lindholm down the wing. The defenseman moving up is solidly checked by Paul Martin in the corner. Hornquist battling against Paul Stastny, trying to take it away from him. The Penguins are really working hard right here on this shift with 1:28 to go. Right to the end of this game, they're going to keep working if they can. And the Blues trying to get another one, and they score. Cole gets it on a one-timer to make it 4-2 with 1:22 to go.
Well, the birthday boy gets on the board to make it 4-2, and he taps his stick on the ice, saying, "Hey, I want the puck. Take a look at the right side of your screen. It's going to come back to Jackman." Taps the stick. It's in the zone. And he rifles it by the netminder. Where's the tap? There's the tap. And he had the wrist cocked and just got it by the screen in front. No way Thomas Greiss could see that puck as it whistled by, and timeout. Pittsburgh here as the Blues have made it 4-2 with 1:22.
So now the Blues, that 4th goal is looking pretty big right now, isn't it, Bob? The one by Sutter?
Yeah, it's looking really big right now, that backhand goal, that 4th one. It was St. Louis who was called the timeout here, Staggy. Hitchcock trying to get his troops ready. Tarasenko took a big hack from Como on his last shift. I don't know if he'll be ready to go here for the last 1:22. We'll see who they put on the ice. Elliott, I imagine, will start in the net and will come off right away.
Tarasenko gets the 2nd assist. Jackman the 1st assist on that goal.
Yeah, Kurt Muller, who was drafted right behind Mario Lemieux in that draft here, is drawing up something on the dry erase board. Here are the goals in the 3rd period. The backhand making it 4-0 for Pittsburgh, and St. Louis has played their best minutes these last 5 minutes. Getting the 1st goal under the pad, 5-hole, and that 2nd one on the blast from Cole to cut the lead in half. Tarasenko sitting on the edge of the boards. He'll come on. He'll be the extra attacker if the Blues can get it into the Penguins' zone.
Elliott's still in the net. The Penguins would like to keep the Blues down at that end of the rink, but they've got possession of the puck right now. Elliott heads to the bench. Extra attacker on now for St. Louis. Steen dumps it in. Schwartz takes it on the wall. Has a little bit of time and space. And Letang trying to take it away from him. He moves it out to Oshie and back to Schwartz. Steen on the ice. Tarasenko as well. It's all forwards right now for the Blues. 6 forwards are on the ice. Here's Steen at the right point. Oshie's at the left point. Steen shoots it. It hit Martin. And it's cleared by Como back to center. 44 seconds to go. Steen with it again. And taken now by Hornquist, and he'll bank it off the boards to center ice. Empty net. And Malkin couldn't corral it. The Penguins want him to change. He and Kunitz go to the bench. Fresh players come on. Crosby's on the ice. Loose puck just inside the line. Look out, Tarasenko with it. He fanned on the shot. He was checked from behind as he tried to pull the trigger. Puck stays in the Penguin zone. 22 seconds to go in the game. Stastny parks in front of the goal. They move it to the point and Oshie. Crosby pressures him. Blocks his shot. Martin tried to move it to the right side. Now he gets it back. Aims for the empty net. Only 10 seconds remaining in the game. And the Blues, one more gasp here with 5 seconds to go, 3 seconds. Schwartz, centering pass, off the stick of the man in front. And that man is Tarasenko. He says something to the referee as he goes by. He's not happy, as the Blues aren't happy as a team either. They have been defeated tonight by the Penguins 4-2. Big road win here in St. Louis for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, everybody came together, really played a solid game from start to finish. They wanted the shutout for Greiss. He was solid, very solid, as you mentioned, on saves on Steen and Tarasenko. Tarasenko not happy as he got chopped at the end of the game. The Penguins play that hard brand you need on the road.
Only 23 shots for the Blues. Let's go to Robin Jay.
Stocking Bob, thanks very much. So, Jay, not maybe the exact finish you want. The Blues getting a couple late goals, but a nice, good win for the Penguins. They're up 4-0 in this game. Win 4-2, snap the 3-game losing streak.
Yeah, it was a big win. It impacts Greiss. I mean, because here's a guy that had a great game all night, and he scored a couple later on, but he was very good. Obviously enough to keep it. We talked about Pittsburgh taking it to St. Louis, but one of the key reasons to keep St. Louis down, keep them flat, was Greiss. We talked about some of the saves he made. It was big for him, so good night.
All right, just we promised you earlier in the game, it's Miller time, presented by Miller Lite, and it is Blake Como with a couple of goals for the Penguins tonight. Mike Johnson juggled around the lines a little bit this evening. Blake Como gets the very first goal of the game, his 13th of the season. This came off the turnover, the one that Jake illustrated for you along the wall, and then Como later scoring his 14th as well at the 15:38 mark. That's the one that proved to be the game winner, that 14th goal of the season. Put the Penguins up at that time by the score of 3-0. The Penguins go on to win by the final score of 4-2. Coming up next on Penguins Postgame, extended highlights from this victory at the Scott Trade Center in St. Louis. Postgame reaction, Jay's illustration and analysis, highlights from around the league, thoughts on the game coming up tomorrow against Florida, and more. All coming up next on Penguins Postgame.